Adam Schefter on his podcast. Take a listen to him kind of doing the whole game with where he thinks Deshaun Watson and DeAndre Hopkins are.
And, of course, there's the Cleveland Browns. He worked with Deshaun Watson in the past. I'm sure Deshaun Watson would want to work with him again. The Browns certainly could use another wide receiver to complement Amari Cooper, although Donovan Peoples-Jones came on, and they do have some other young wide receiving talent. But Cleveland would make some sense. But again, does DeAndre Hopkins want to go there? Here's the thing. I think that the public is a lot more interested in DeAndre Hopkins than NFL teams are interested. And all we have to do is look back at the fact that for months he was available, and for a multitude of reasons, nobody traded for him. So either they couldn't placate the Arizona Cardinals or couldn't placate DeAndre Hopkins, or he didn't want to go to a certain place to restructure. But for a multitude of reasons, he's still out there. And he's probably the most high-profile free agent out there, with maybe the exception of Ezekiel Elliott. Those are the two guys that I think are the most interesting names out there right now. And so we went months without DeAndre Hopkins movement, and now we'll wait to see when there is movement. I don't think, and I could be wrong, but I don't think it's going to move quickly. I think he could be on the market for a little while. And to me, when I look at it, I look at the Chiefs, the Bills, the Patriots, the Browns, all have some advantages and all have some disadvantages, and we'll see how that works out over time.
And Brad, the reason I listen to that is the relative to teams versus the public perception of Hopkins. I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, it does happen a lot. Obviously, guys are very high profile and are very good players for a long time, have early draft status as a first-round pick. And he does have the most receiving yards through his age 30 season compared to any receiver in the NFL. So it's not like it's totally drummed up. But I think the thing here is, look, the suspension is legit from 2 years ago. I mean, you do wonder, hey, maybe were PEDs a reason why he was being able to play at a very high level through his late 20s. And then, of course, some injuries have cropped up recently. He misses the last couple games in Arizona. There were kind of questions of his dedication to the club over the second half of the season. They did pick top 5 overall, and to his credit, you have the general manager getting, leaving in the offseason. They get a coach fired while they're in Mexico. Like, let's not blame DeAndre Hopkins for the complete and total dysfunction of the Arizona Cardinals organization. But if you're going to bring in one of these big name, big profile guys, you probably do want a guy that, follows orders and stays in line and doesn't ruffle any feathers and all those things. Frankly, Jadeveon Clowney, probably kind of as an example, or maybe a recent situation where they had a guy who kind of did ruffle some feathers, and maybe they don't think it's worth it to kind of go down the same path. So, not saying he's a bad guy or anything, but they're in a do-or-die year. I think this entire staff probably realizes that, and any distractions or any negative press or publicity, doesn't help them in their pursuit of, frankly, keeping their jobs and also winning a lot of football games. So, yeah, I think the last piece here as well is the Odell Beckham Jr. contract, getting a 1-year, $15 million deal, fully guaranteed with incentives, is a killer for every team trying to talk to DeAndre Hopkins, because in his mind, he's probably saying, yeah, I haven't been the greatest player the last 2 years, but I've sure been better than the guy who basically has not played. And I just, that deal is such an outlier to me that I think I agree with Schefter. I wouldn't be surprised if this drags on a little bit and is not resolved quickly.
Yeah.